Welcome to the Texas Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You may use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. You don't need to wait until a certain individual is presenting. You can go ahead and submit your any or all of our institutions at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. Keep in mind, this is just one of many different sessions happening, so make sure that you catch the recordings of all of our programs for this fair at strivescan.com/Texas. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to turn it over to our first panelist of this event, and we're going to head to Western Oregon University. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Thank you all for being here. My name is Brianna Navarrete. I'm an admissions counselor at Western. I'm also an alum. So welcome, everyone. So we're going to get started. So Western Oregon University was funded in 1856. We're one of the pretty old public universities in the state of Oregon. We're considered medium, but we're fairly small. We're located in Monmouth, Oregon. We're like 20 minutes away from Salem, the state capital, and like an hour away from Portland. And we have about 5,300 students enrolled in the university. Our average class size is 18 to 22 students per classroom. We used to be just a teaching institution, and now we have a variety of different majors. Our requirements are that first year students, they must have a 3.0 unweighted GPA. In order for you to get that 3.0, you must have a C- or better in your English, math, science, social science, and foreign language classes in high school. We do not require the ACT or SAT. We have eliminated that out of our process, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can do that. So how do you apply online? So our application's online. It's like 14 slides you have to fill out. It's pretty simple. And also it's free for you to apply. We're not charging no application fee right now. We're doing this new thing called self-reported GPA. We have you just report yourself, and then later on you have to turn in your transcripts. But I always tell students, might as well, once you apply, submit your transcripts and get it done out of the way. We're rolling admission, so we really don't have a deadline for you to apply to Western. You can apply whenever you like. The only deadline we kind of do have for you is that you have to be admitted before February 1st in order for you to apply for a scholarship, which our deadline is March 1st. So for those students, since we have WUI, I don't know if you heard it, Western Undergraduate Exchange Program, or for our Texas tuition, it's the same thing, where we give this discount to our students in these different 16 states. Instead of paying the almost $30,000 for being out-of-state tuition, you only get to pay $14,286. And you also get the opportunity to apply for our scholarships. Our first year students, usually 78% of those students receive financial aid, whether it's a grant, it's a scholarship, our WUI, everything. So there's always something for students to receive from Western. So when it comes to majors, we have 50 plus. Like I mentioned, we used to be just an education institution. So that's our #1 major that we have that's really popular at Western. But as well, we have business, criminal justice, psychology, computer science, exercise science, biology, and pre-nursing, as well as American Sign Language Studies and American Sign Language English interpreting as well. For those students that are first year students, we have a requirement that you're required to live on campus, and we have different dorms that you can stay. Ackerman is our most newest recent dorm that we have, but that's a mixture of grade levels. But Landers and Heritage is for incoming freshmen only. We also have Barnum and Butler, which is upperclassmen as well. You get to choose the building that you want to stay at. You get to choose the room that you want to stay at. You get to choose your roommate. If not, you just can do a survey, fill it out, and then they try to match you up with someone that they think that you'll make that match with that student. And you get a mini fridge and a microwave in your room, so you don't get to spend extra money. So that's pretty cool. And then a lot of students ask us, how do you stay active? So we have pretty amazing things. We have the Health and Wellness Center. We have club sports. We just have campus recreation where we have different programs like Zumba, yoga, cycling class, spinning, all these amazing other classes. And so it's always nice to have students participate so they can not just stress about doing homework and, going to class, but at least distract themselves and be also really into like exercising and stuff like that. So I always encourage students to do that as well, enjoying our classes and stuff. So a lot of students ask us, what else is there to do? So we have different, we have about 60 to 65 different clubs, organizations on campus, including Greek Life. The Veteran Center, the Stonewall Center, Student Media, Non-Traditional, ASWA, which is a student government, Multicultural Student Services and Programs. We have all these wonderful programs that help students just kind of have these different events, which we call them WU traditions. It's just you get to go to these events so that way you can get to meet other students and have a good time and just, just not stress about work anymore, homework, all that kind of stuff. So these are usually fun. We have the Hawaii Luau, the MSU Powwow, the Nuestra Fiesta Latina, holiday tree lighting, which is our most popular one. So we have a variety of different ones that you can always join. And that way you can have a little bit of fun in college as well, not just about just studying and going to class. A lot of students ask us, like, what if we have questions about academic and stuff like that? We got you covered. We have advising, all different kind of advisors that help you, whether you're a transfer student, an exploratory that you have no clue what to major in, or a pre-nursing student or international student. We got you covered. We also have tutoring that we can help you as well. If you have ever any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. This is our admissions office phone number as well as our email. I will also be putting my contact information onto the chat. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Western Oregon University. I'm now going to turn it over to Verto Education.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll go ahead and see if this screen share will. Yay. Okay. I hate it when it shares the wrong thing. Hi, guys. So my name is Lainey. I'm with Verto Education. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Admissions here. So Virto is definitely a little bit different. So what we offer is a fully accredited college freshman semester traveling around the world. So picture yourself post-high school, you're going to a university. 4 years later, you're done. Huzzah. Now with Virto, you can keep that same picture, except for that first semester or that first full year of that college. You're just with us traveling around the world, and then you're transferring those credits to your college. So you still get the best of both worlds. We're just definitely a little bit different. The mission of Virto as an organization, we're really trying to bring international travel and higher education front and center for students and make it more accessible, more affordable, more streamlined for everyone. So this really shakes down into 3 different pillars. The first being just looking at our semesters in general and trying to craft the best first year of college. The second pillar is admissions to a great fit school. So we actually partner with over 50 universities across the state. I'll talk about that in just a sec. And then the third pillar is an affordable college education, obviously hoping to make college and Virto affordable for all families. So the best first year of college, this is definitely a pretty loaded statement, but I think we have some really, really incredible semesters for students. We do have 2 types of semesters, just depending on what you're looking for, and I'll talk about those in just 1 second, but we've got on-campus and field semesters. So the heart and soul of those are the same, but they do vary in a couple of different ways. As far as academics, so every semester with us, a student is earning 16 credits. You're taking 4 college courses. So you're staying on that 4-year timeline and staying on track to still graduate within 4 years. But you're taking these classes in other countries. We have 6 separate locations, so it's totally up to you. You get to choose where you want to go. And they're all very experiential. So if you're taking a class on environmental science, you're getting field work with environmental science. So it's really connecting hands and and heads, which I think is pretty important. We have small class sizes, one-on-one mentorship. You're with our Virto professors, no matter where you are, as well as with our program leaders. So we have a lot of different offerings for students, a lot of support both on the ground and back here in the States as well. This is our span, traditional to least traditional. You can see England, Italy, and Spain. These are our campus semesters. Hawaii, Latin America, and South Pacific are our field semesters. So the campus semesters, as I said, they're a little bit different. So on campus, you're in London, Milan, and Madrid. So these are big international hubs. They're vibrant cities. You're with a lot of other international students, but you're living and going to class with your Virto cohort. So it is pretty intimate in that sense. You're like a family. You can see here just a snapshot of London. So 16 credits, you're staying in a student residence. These are the course selections for this fall. So you're not going to be taking all 6 of the classes. You're taking 4, 5 if you're super academic and you want to take 5. And like I mentioned, you're traveling with your Virto group. So aside from taking these courses, we are doing different excursions. Some of these are day trips as a group, some are weekend trips. So aside from that, we're also, as I mentioned, weaving what you're learning into the different excursions that we're doing. Field semesters, very different in a lot of ways. We're staying in small rural areas, villages, not in big cities. For the field semesters, we are on a block schedule, both academically and location-wise. So instead of staying in a student residence, we're actually doing homestays with local families. You're staying in base houses or home bases with your group of students and with your staff. And we're moving around every month to a different location and focusing on a different class each month, which is pretty exciting. These are definitely more adventurous, more busy, I would say. Fiji, New Zealand, and Australia, this is our South Pacific semester. We have a lot of just crazy, awesome, adventurous students on these. We're doing a ton of really, really incredible stuff. And it's cool because for the field semesters, you're traveling within a country or to different countries. So this one, you're going to 3 different countries. In Latin America, you're going to 2 different countries. So pretty awesome to get that variety as well. So admissions to a great fit school. We do partner with 54 universities at this time. What that means is when you apply to Virto, you can simultaneously apply to up to 5 of our partner colleges. It's free, it's non-binding. We work with you to get those applications sent off, and you're getting a holistic review and 2 to 3 week turnaround with those schools. If you're not interested in partner colleges, that's absolutely fine. Most of our students, about half our students, go to non-partner schools. So we work and make sure those credits are going to defer and transfer to the university you want to attend. This is just a snapshot of our partner colleges. We partner with schools from the West Coast to the East Coast, north to south, big, small. So a huge variety, a really awesome range. We also guarantee admission to 27 of our partner colleges. So what that means is if you're joining Virto and meet the requirements for these schools, you're guaranteed admission to some colleges, which is pretty rad. Last but not least, affordability. So our semesters range from $15,000 to $25,000. We do accept federal financial aid. We have opportunity grants, leadership awards, external stuff as well. And that's almost all inclusive. You just have to pay for flights. And that is my time. Thank you guys so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Verto Education. We are now going to head to Reed College.
Cool. Thank you all. Thanks for being here. I am also going to go ahead and share my screen real quick, and we'll get this going. So, hey, how's it going? My name is Verto Harris. I am one of the assistant deans of admission here at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. And like I said, it's a pleasure to be here. So we're in Portland. This is Portland. This is what Portland actually looks like. For those of you that are curious, it's very green. It's very picturesque. It pretty much almost looks like this year round. A lot of evergreen trees, but this is the view. This is campus kind of in the foreground, and this is facing east. So that's Mount Hood in the distance. And then this is actually facing west towards the city center. So the cool thing about Reed is we are a small private liberal arts college, but we're located in a pretty big, pretty major city, which is something that can be hard to come by in some instances. I know when I was looking for schools, a lot of the liberal arts colleges I found were not in more large city centers. Fun fact about Reed also, because Portland and Oregon is very much, in touch with the natural world. This is a shot from campus. There's a waterway that runs through the center of campus called the Canyon, and there are 2 bridges that pass over it. And the canyon is actually a protected wildlife refuge. It's super beautiful. There's a 1.5 mile hiking trail that runs through it that a lot of students use to get around campus. So switching gears up to kind of academics at Reed and the way they work. This is Derek Applewhite. He's one of our cell biology professors, obviously in the biology department, which is usually our largest major on campus. So if anyone is worried about going to liberal arts school and not getting a good, science education, Reed is definitely a place for you. Our other most popular majors are generally English, psychology, economics, and history tend to round out those. We're definitely a place that specializes in a lot of hands-on, more intimate learning environments. This is actually taken in Derek's lab. This is what a scene from a typical conference. So the average class size at Reed is 16 students. We've got a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And in total, we are a little bit under 1,500 students. We're completely undergrad. So all the students that are on campus are undergraduate students. So you're never having to kind of fight with students that are there pursuing master's degrees for resources or research opportunities. Speaking of research opportunities, this is another kind of strange and interesting fact about Reed, that there's actually a nuclear reactor on campus. We are the only undergraduate institution that has a nuclear reactor on campus that is completely managed by our students. It's actually the highest paid job for student work on campus is to be the manager of our nuclear reactor. So this is kind of like the desk that you get where you spend most of your time monitoring important things. This is the reactor itself. It actually does glow blue, which is really fun. It's in a beautiful room. There are no worries about it melting down. I think the story is it has enough power to for you to power up like 2 washing machines at the same time. So it's definitely not of any major concern should things go awry. On to the kind of performing arts. This is the performing arts building. It's the 2nd newest building on campus. And kind of the fun thing about performing arts at Reed is that you don't have to be a performing arts major to participate. The vast majority of students that help out with our productions aren't performing arts majors. So this is one of the theaters on campus. It's the Black Box Theater. Super nice space. There are also dance rooms. There are more, it's like a studio theater that's available. And again, all these spaces are open for students to pretty much come in, use as they please, use for class, use for shows, things of that nature. Moving on to student life here at Reed, there are a lot of clubs, so many clubs. This is actually a club called Weapons of Mass Distraction, which is a fire dancing troupe that is on campus. They have shows. This is in the quad. So if you ever, want to learn how to dance with fire and spin fire, and maybe not tell your parents about that, this is an option for you. There's also other clubs, like there's an outdoor club. The outdoor club spends a lot of time going up to Mount Hood, where Reed has a ski cabin, where a lot of students go just to kind of take a break from, the day-to-day. There's also an outdoor club, an outdoor backpack co-op, which is a place you can show up and rent a bunch of gear. So tents, sleeping bags, mountain bikes, kayaks, it's all there. It's completely free for students to use. Dorms, this is the newest building, which is Trillium Dorm on campus. Very nice. All of the dorms have full kitchens. The majority of dorm rooms on campus actually aren't undivided doubles like this one. There are only a few like this. The vast majority are divided doubles. So if you have a roommate, usually you'll have, a wall, and in some cases, a door that separates you from your roommate. And then I guess the last fun fact I'll share here is that you can have pets. Students are allowed to have animals. I've seen everything from dogs to, I don't know, mice to snakes. And then here is just a quick list of important information. In terms of financial aid, we only offer need-based financial aid. So we take the FAFSA, something called the CSS profile, and then here are all the dates and financial aid deadlines are the same. So thank you for having me.
Awesome, fantastic, Reed College. Thank you so much for all that interesting information. We are now going to head to Pacific University, Oregon, whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Well, hello, everybody, and it's nice to meet you from Oregon. My name is Derek. When you apply to Pacific, I'm actually going to be your admissions counselor here. So I get the privilege of working with all the students from a little bit further away and getting to tell you about our amazing university we have up here. So as you've heard, a lot of us are from Oregon, so you're probably getting pretty familiar with the map, but Pacific itself, we're in a smaller town called Forest Grove. We're located about 25 miles west of Portland. So depending on traffic, about a half an hour drive from downtown, hour from the coast. So you can be out on the beautiful Oregon coast in just an hour drive and to 4 different beaches from there. But the nice thing with where Pacific is located is we are still part of Portland Metro. So we're still part of the mass transportation system. You can go watch a Blazer game in 45 minutes. You can be out at the airport in an hour using mass transportation, so you don't have to bring a car. But on the other hand, when you get tired of people, 15 minutes off our campus and you're into the Tillamook National Forest where you're hiking on hiking trails covering thousands of miles within the Pacific Northwest. So it's a really amazing area where you're close to a lot of things, including things like Nike, Xerox, Columbia. They all have really big world headquarters, less than a 15-minute drive from our campus. So that means amazing access for our students. And as a small liberal arts university, we offer over 65 different majors, minors, and programs to about 1,900 undergraduate students. We do also offer programs to about 2,000 graduate students. There's 36 of those. So know that there's a lot of different opportunity to continue on while you're at Pacific. But that first 4 years is kind of what we want to focus on today, since that's where you're going to start through the process. For those 65 different majors, minors, and programs, we're best known for the health professions. So pre-physical therapy, pre-med, pre-optometry, pre-pharmacy, that's where we kind of get our name out there. But we also have nationally and regionally ranked creative writing programs, education, and business. So we really do fit that full liberal arts where you're going to be able to find what you're excited about while you're here. And to all of our programs, we offer small classes, average class size of only 19 students. You won't be hiding in the back rows of our classes because our largest lecture hall only seats 60 students. That's as big as they get. And at Pacific, the professors are going to know your name, and they are real professors. Every single class is taught by full professors, no TAs, no grad students doing any teaching while they're here, but it's actually a professor who wants to be in that classroom passing along that information. And on top of that, we give our students a 4-year graduation guarantee, which is our pledge to you that you'll be in and out of Pacific in 4 years or less. No 5th years, 6 years, or victory laps, but you actually get to come into Pacific, get a 4-year education, and then be able to take that next step right away. And that next step isn't just a handshake, a good luck, and a diploma. Yes, you've gotten that part of it. But more importantly, we're also going to build up a real life resume of you doing work outside of the classroom so that when you graduate, you have a very high placement rating into graduate schools and into the real workforce. So at Pacific, we started job shadowing research and internships freshman and sophomore year, not waiting until you're a junior or senior, so that you have multiple years to try things out, to figure out exactly what you want to study, and to build on that for all 4 years. And these aren't little tiny projects. If you've ever seen a Nike high-vis soccer ball, that was actually designed by students at Pacific University as their senior thesis project. So 5 students did that for Nike. So imagine going into a job interview with that in your back pocket, where you can say, okay, I'm taking classes and have a similar GPA, but I helped Nike redesign a soccer ball. And that's the sort of thing we want all of our students to do, whether that's in the sciences or whether it's in creative writing and publishing your own work. By the time our students graduate, they are ready to go into the workforce, and you can see that in those very high numbers of placement that we have here at Pacific. But we also know students need an outlet. They need to be able to take a break. And so at Pacific, we encourage all of our students to be very active, whether that's in our 70 different clubs and organizations like student government, Greek life, academic clubs, or maybe joining our Hawaii club here on campus. or continuing in music, dance, and theater, whether you're majoring in it or not, you actually get to continue to work in those fields, doing our different performing arts groups, or joining our 24 varsity, 20 intramural, or 10 club sports at the NCAA Division III level. You're going to be able to compete at a very high level with a lot of other peers and be able to continue that 4-year education while you're here. Most importantly, we also want you taking that outside of the classroom, not just with the research and internships, but outside of the classroom, because we want you to enjoy the Pacific Northwest. Whether that's going with the outdoor pursuits on a ski trip up to Mount Hood, learning how to surf on the Oregon coast, studying abroad in 27 sites around the country, or being able to give back through community service. Our students are active, they want to give back, and we want our students to be able to continue to do all of these different pieces while they're here. Now, something that's really important when it comes to Pacific, for applying and scholarship, we have no in-state or out-of-state tuition and no in-state or out-of-state scholarships. Our students are all coming in at the same level, which means when you apply through the Common App, and we are still accepting applications this year. So you can still apply, you can still get merit scholarship. You're going to apply through Common App, we're looking at your academics, but we are test optional. You do not need to send in test scores to be admitted or to get scholarship. And at Pacific, those scholarships are going to be things like our Senior Preview Scholarship Day, where you can either come up to campus or do it virtually and kind of get a feel for our campus and earn scholarship that way. Audition for a music, dance, or theater scholarship through our Special Interest and Talent Awards, or be able to get one of our academic merit scholarships that, again, are state blind. We don't care where you're coming from. We're looking at your academics. Ours are also need blind. This is based purely on the students' academics when they apply to Pacific University. And they range from $15,000 to $27,000 per year for all 4 years you're here at Pacific. Again, just like that 4-year guarantee for graduation, our scholarships are guaranteed for 4 years while you're here. So definitely fill out that common application, reach out to us with any questions you might have. As I mentioned, I'm your admissions counselor here at Pacific, so feel free to reach out to me. I'll also put my information into the chat, or you can just scan that little QR code down in the bottom. That will give you all of our information here. So thank you so much for having me on, and hope to see you at Pacific in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Pacific University, Oregon. We're going to stay, of course, in Oregon. Now we're going to hear from Oregon State University.
Awesome. Thanks for having me here, everyone. My name is Alexis Colbert. So I am the admissions advisor for Oregon State University for all of the central time zone. So I am going to be your admissions advisor, and I'll be the one helping you out with everything. I'll put my information in the chat once we're done. But for now, I'm just really going to jump into it because we don't have much time. So when you start thinking about Oregon State, our main campus is in Corvallis, and Corvallis literally translates to heart of the valley. So we're really centrally located in Oregon. We're about an hour from Portland, about an hour from the coast, and then 2 or so hours from the mountains. Corvallis really is a college town. So we have about 22,000 students on our campus directly, but then we also have the town of Corvallis around us. So they have their own downtown center with mom and pop shops who are all really excited about everything that we have going on our campus and are really connected to Corvallis. We do have another campus as well. It's one of the most unique things about Oregon State. So we have our Bend Cascades campus. This is located in Bend, Oregon, which is right at the base of the mountain. So that's a campus you want to go to if you're really excited about nature, if you want to be out there all the time, hiking, skiing, snowboarding. And it's also the location where we have specific programs for really looking at environmental science, looking at tourism, and looking at athletic leadership. So that's the campus you would look at for that. And it's about 2,000 students there, so very much smaller vibe. When it comes to student life on our campus, we have over 400 different student clubs and activities. So we are a really active campus in Corvallis. One of the biggest events that we have on campus is Dam Jam. So it's a big music festival in the spring where you'll see all of campus and even part of town come out. We've had lots of different artists perform at that. But we are a campus, so we want everyone to be able to do anything that they see fit. So we have clubs ranging from robotics, where you'd be doing competitions, building your own cars, to clubs like the Corgi Appreciation Club, where students really just bond about their love of dogs and pets. So there are a range of things to do. And as long as you've got about 8 other friends who are interested, you can start your own club if you don't see it. We're also a part of the Division I and the Pac-12 for all of our students who are interested in athletics. For that, we also have a range of different levels of athletic involvement. So we do have 40 club sports and intramural sports as well. So you get to decide if you want to be a varsity athlete that's traveling, winning championships, or if you just want to compete with other OSU students on campus. We do have a requirement for all of our first year students to live on campus that freshman year, but the great thing is we have a range of different resident hall styles. So across our 16 resident halls, you can choose whether you're going to be living in a single, in a more traditional double for college life, or if you'll be in a triple. And then we also have LLCs. So these are living and learning communities. They're spaces where you're living with a group of people who are studying something similar to you. So you're taking your learning experience outside the classroom and literally back to your residence hall. The one pictured here is Weatherford Hall. It's one of the spaces for the College of Business LLC. So there are students who walk from their room to another room in the same building and takes classes right here in their residence hall. We also have 18 different dining locations on our campus, ranging from sushi to burgers. So you're never going to get bored or tired of what you're eating there. We really like to say that getting out there starts here with Oregon State. Research is one of our biggest priorities. We let students really get involved in research starting from their freshman year, and we have $450 million in research funding. We're one of 2 schools in the entire country to have all 4 land grants from the United States government. So we have grants for land, sea, sun, and space, and then we have multiple research centers. So we have the Hatfield Marine Science Center. So those students who are interested in oceanography and environmental science to be on research vessels doing research. But then we also have the McDonald Dunn Research Forest for all those students who are interested in forestry. And we are the #1 school for forestry in the country. We have over 200 different academic programs. These range from some of the more popular ones for us being environmental science and engineering, but we also do have a full liberal arts college. So all those students who want to study theater or literature, to you can take classes across different departments. So you're not stuck only taking classes in your major. I'm really going to focus on some of our unique programs though. So we have University Exploratory Studies. That's the major for you not knowing what you want to major in yet. You have an advisor who will make sure that you're graduating on time while also being able to explore courses across the colleges in your freshman year. So you can really find out what you're passionate about. And then we have the Honors College. You would apply to this in addition to your application for admission. It's a lot smaller, and it's really not about more work, but it's about having more in-depth material and really getting closer into those subjects. So we are fully TEPS optional here at OSU. You do not need to see test scores for any scholarships or for your admission to the university. But we are going to be looking for your general high school prep courses that we have listed here on the right side of the screen. And then the Honors College, of course, will have an additional essay. We are practicing rolling admission at OSU. So our priority deadline was February 1st to hear back sooner and be able to apply to the most scholarships, but we will actually still be accepting applications for fall of 21 until August 25th. When it comes to scholarships and aid, we have 3 different main ways. So we have a select number of scholarships that are admissions-based, meaning that when we look at your application for admission, we would be evaluating you for that scholarship as well. But then we also have our own online website called Scholar Dollars. Once you're admitted to OSU, we give you access to this, and it'll list all of the scholarships across departments and organizations on our campus, and you can apply for them with shorter applications. So you're not sending in an individual application for every single scholarship that you find for OSU. Again, like I said, I am your admissions advisor. I put my information up here, and I'll also put it in the chat. And thanks so much for having me today.
Great. Thank you so much, Oregon State University. We're now going to finalize this portion of today's event with hearing from Linfield University. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to also share my screen here. But thank you for having us. My name's Madison, and I am one of the assistant directors of admission here at Linfield University. Now, Linfield is a 4-year undergraduate school. We are located in a town called McMinnville, Oregon. So as you can see from this aerial view here, our campus is actually almost 189 acres. We have a lot of open park-like spaces to spread out and call your own. And as far as where we are in location to other places in Oregon, we are roughly 45 minutes north of our state capital, Salem, Oregon. We're about 45 minutes to an hour south of Portland, which is, as you all have learned today, where the nearest airport is located. And then we're about 45 minutes in from the Oregon coast. So we're tucked in a beautiful pocket of Oregon wine country. Our school is comprised of about 1,400 students. So our typical class size tends to have roughly about 14. Now, we have a College of Arts and Sciences, our School of Business, and on the next slide, you'll see we also have one of the oldest schools of nursing in the state of Oregon. But in total, we have 51 majors to choose from. And the best part about Linfield too is you don't have to commit to what you want to study until the very end of your sophomore year. So you have lots of time to decide. But in general, our top 5 most popular majors are nursing, business management, psychology, education, and then exercise science. And you can see where some of these majors live. As promised, like I said, we do have one of the oldest schools of nursing in the state of Oregon. But what's really exciting is actually this spring, we just moved on to our brand new nursing campus, which is actually located out in Portland. And we now have about 20 acres of classroom space there. I'm not going to read off everything that's listed on this slide, but in addition to going to class, hands-on learning is super important here at Linfield. So feel free to peruse this slide here, and you can see some of the ways that our students get involved outside of the classroom where they can apply their studies. And actually, you can start research or an internship or a job shadow opportunity as early as your first year. I know during a pandemic, it can be kind of strange to think about studying abroad, but historically, traveling as a Linfield student has been a really key piece to the experience. Here you can see we have about 14 different countries you could travel to. Our students tend to go abroad for either a semester, which for us is 4 months. You could go for an entire year if you like. Or we do offer a 1-month January term. So for nursing majors or student athletes, oftentimes that Jan term is the best choice. And if you all remember anything about our study abroad opportunity, it's that Linfield will pay for your first round trip airfare, which is pretty unique. Here are some examples of what our students get involved in outside of the classroom. Similarly to what you've learned with other schools, we too have a medley of things you could pursue in your free time. That's anything from student government. If you wanted to join the Wildcat Events Board, they plan Wildstock, which is one of our large concert series every spring. We have 50+ clubs, so anything from hammock club to multicultural clubs. Fraternity and sorority life is here on our campus. And obviously, if you're going to live in Oregon, you gotta love the outdoors. So it's certainly worth taking advantage of our outdoor rec program. Here you can see what a pretty typical first-year student residence hall looks like. They're really spacious. We have 15 different residence halls to choose from. We have anything from co-ed, single gender, gender inclusive housing. One of my favorites is the pet friendly dorm, which is relatively new to our campus. And we also have 5 on-campus apartment units you could choose from as an upperclassman. But the best part is 75% of our students actually choose to live on our campus all 4 years. So it gives you a great sense of place. If you're thinking about athletics, we are a Division III school. So here you can see we have 11 programs for women's athletics, and we have 10 programs for men's athletics. But our school spirit is certainly here too. So it's fun to go watch a game. Here you can see that we are a common application school. We too are test optional this year and next year, so we will not require ACT or SAT scores, and it is free to apply to Linfield. Here you can see some of our application deadlines. They're pretty standard, but we are still accepting applications for fall 2021 at this time. And lastly, 99% of our students do receive scholarships and financial aid from us. And our average financial aid package is over $40,000 per year. So the bulk majority of students are receiving scholarship and aid. Whether you're from out of state or in state, we don't have in-state tuition, so you have equal access and opportunity to the scholarships we offer. And lastly, I'll post my contact information in the chat as well, but here's a quick blurb of that. And thank you so much for your time.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Linfield University, and thank you to all of our panelists who are here today. I'm going to ask all of our panelists to turn on their videos. I'm going to share my screen real quick, and we're going to do a quick Q&A with some important topics for our college seekers. So we have the first question is, what advice would you give someone going through this college search process? We're going to go ahead and go in the same order that we have been, and so we will go back to Western Oregon University.
Hello, everyone. Some advices that I usually give students is that always have a plan A, plan B, C. Always make sure that you ask questions. Don't be afraid. It's okay to ask a whole bunch of 20,000 questions. It's okay. Also, always visit the schools that you're planning to, because if you don't visit them, you won't know if it's the right school for you, if it's actually where you feel comfortable, that you can see yourself, that you're going to be assisting that school. So that's some of the advices that I usually give students. So good luck, everyone.
That is great advice. Verto Education?
Yeah, that is awesome advice for sure. I would say pretty important just to kind of take a step back and look at everything from a broad viewpoint. I think it's important for students to know it's not necessary just to follow in their friends' footsteps. Also, I think organization, what you can, is super key and very, very helpful. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to your admissions counselors. The more communication, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Reed College, what's your advice?
Mine is kind of strange, maybe a little bit. I am just gonna say, be kind to yourself. Like this is a lot. I did not apply to college in the middle of a global pandemic. I have no idea how to go about it. I can try and help, but I know that, you know, my experience was much different from yours. So, you know, it's important, I think, you know, you're so much more than just a set of numbers and grades. And yeah, just sit back, know that you're special, and you know, just vibe with it.
Great advice. Thank you, Reed College. Pacific University, Oregon, what's your advice?
Sure. So one thing I always tell students is to avoid looking for one word for college. So don't pick a college based on one word, because you've already noticed we all have a really horrible habit in higher ed to change the name of anything we possibly can. So if you're looking for even a major or a specific state, don't just look for that one word. Don't look for just exercise science or just kinesiology, because you're going to find so many more options when you start thinking a little bit broader. So even if it's what your mom and dad went to college for, it may have changed its name by now. So you might do a little bit of research on what you're looking for before you actually choose a college based on that word.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tip. Thank you for sharing it with us. Oregon State University.
Yeah, I definitely would say my advice is pay a lot of attention to your essays. A lot of us schools are holistic admission at this point. We're not just looking at your test scores. We're not just looking at your extracurricular list. So you really use that essay to tell us something that the rest of your application doesn't tell us, and write about something that you're passionate about. Don't write an essay that you think we want to read, because if you were born, write something that you're really passionate about.
Definitely, and I saw a lot of our colleagues here agreeing with that advice from Oregon State University. We'll finalize this question with Linfield University.
It's really tricky going last because I do agree with all of my peers and counterparts here. Great advice. I guess I have two things, and one thing is really difficult to recommend in a pandemic, so I get that. But I would say too, if you're able to visit even one or two schools that you're interested in, that can be huge. I think, as much information as we're able to share, if you're able to connect with a student, get your feet on campus and experience it for yourself, sometimes that's one of the best ways to help finalize your decision. But of course, if travel's not an option, again, I understand, especially out of state, that can be tricky. I would also say be open-minded. Think about the things that you enjoy doing now, and think about the things that maybe you've never tried, whether it's studying abroad or joining a new club. And then be sure to ask colleges about that. What kinds of opportunities do they have for you to branch out? Because I think college is one of the best times to explore new options and to not be scared of trying it. So those would be my two key pieces of advice.
Well, we are so fortunate to have all of this expert advice on this panel. Everyone who's joining us just got a wealth of information from you all. So thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen one last time here and close out our session by telling you all once again, thank you for joining us. To our panelists, to those who are here live today, as well as those who are catching the replay of this. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd really appreciate any feedback that you can provide on today's event. Also, this is one of many sessions, and so while this is our last session of the TACAC event, they're all being recorded. So in about a week, you can head over to strivescan.com/Texas and catch as many of these recordings as you would like. Once again, thank you and have a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, or whatever time is where you are. Take care. Bye-bye.